What's going on, Game of Thrones fans? This is Shamar here, aka Throne Runner, bringing you some exhibition coverage of a match between myself playing Night's Watch Banner to the Wolf versus the well-known Rob St.John playing a Lannister deck. This is the deck that was built in a previous video, so for those of you who haven't seen it, feel free to click the link on screen to go ahead and check out that deck build to see what cards are in the deck and what the basic overall strategy of the Night's Watch deck is that I'm currently playing. It's definitely a very interesting one. It's one that makes your opponent have to think very differently, and so I think that in itself makes it a very difficult matchup for even the most seasoned veterans, as you'll see with Rob here across the table from me. So this is us choosing what we're going to play for setup. Typically Night's Watch gets some pretty good setups because of their low cost characters, and it kind of helps when you get to play some low cost Starks as well. So I've got a Bran Stark and an Maester Aemon, sorry, along with the Iron Throne and the King's Road, and he has one copy of Varys and one copy of, I think they call it Burn Men out of Lannister. So for those who don't know, Varys has the stealth keyword, and he also has dominance action, discard all characters in play. So right off the bat, you got to be kind of weary of that, knowing that Varys is able to do that pretty much whenever he feels like it, which is kind of annoying, kind of frustrating for some players, but there are so many different ways to deal with him. So at this point, I wasn't too worried about seeing Varys on the table. I was just kind of hoping to see maybe a Milk of the Poppy at some point so that I could not have to, I guess, be too cognizant of his ability until Rob was able to take that away. But unfortunately, I didn't draw a Milk when I drew back up to 7. So I pretty much just had to continue with my strategy. And for me, whenever I see a Varys across the board, especially in setup, I tend to try to force the Varys play early. So I don't want to wait till late game when my opponent has all of their unique characters out and duped up, so that when he does Varys, his board presence is much greater than mine. So I tend to go out, try to flood the board as much as possible, win as much power as I can, and try to force my opponent to pop Varys early. So I've got the building orders, and Rob has played a noble cause, so he gets to reduce the cost of the first Lord or Lady by 2, and I get to search the top 10 cards of my deck for an attachment or location. And as I just said, I was definitely searching for a Milk of the Poppy. So let's see what I end up pulling out here. And the reason why I was searching for Milk of the Poppy is because I was very fortunate to start this game having both the Wall and Castle Black in my opening hand. So that's unbeknownst to Rob. He was probably assuming that I would just go for the Wall, and then was very surprised when I ended up pulling out a King's Road and asked me if I was playing, by chance, Old Bear Mormont, who is not the greatest card currently in Night's Watch. So I took a King's Road. I knew that eventually it would pay off in helping me get out certain characters, key characters in the deck. So I wasn't too upset that I didn't find the Milk. At least I found some economy. So here we are hitting the draw phase. Rob is the first player, starting with his 5 gold as I play a meager contribution, sir, to steal one of those gold from him. It's such a great card. I mean, especially when your opponent is thinking about what it is that they want to play in what order as soon as they see their cards, obviously, and are choosing their plots. If you're able to throw off their math in the marshalling phase as well, I think it pays dividends in that round. So he plays 1 gold to play his copy of the King's Road, and let's see what he does next. So he doesn't use the King's Road, but he plays a copy of the Lannister Moneylender, which gives him a gold bonus of 1 and an intrigue icon with 2 strength. Burns his King's Road and plays a Maester Pycelle. So that's intrigue, power icon, 2 strength, and the insight keyword. A very great card out of Lannister as well. And if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember if Rob started with the King's Road in play. Maybe he did. because I would have been too limited. So I need to go back and check that one out after this match. So it's taking me a second here to figure out what I want to play because of the fact that I have the wall and I have the wall. I now have a King's Road and I have Castle Black, but I don't have money to play them all, obviously. And I do also want to get some characters out on the board so that I can start defending some of his challenges and making it difficult for him to get that insight with Maester Pycelle. So instead of the King's Road, I go with the Rose Road. Some people would say that was a bad play and prefer to play the King's Road out, but for whatever reason, I decided maybe the gold bonus for the entire game was better than just a burst 3 in one turn. So I was kind of willing to lose the King's Road to Intrigue if that was the case, because I think at the end of the day, obviously the Rose Road pays off more and gives you more money by the end of the game than one single King's Road would give you. So then I marshal a ranging party. Ranging party is no attachment ranger. They can only receive weapons as an attachment. Military icon, power icon, and 5 strength. Very, very worth. So we move into the challenges phase here. And we both have 1 gold going to the challenges. So we got a military challenge of 2 initiated by the Burn Men. And even though I have Maester Aemon out, I don't want to leave this challenge unopposed, but I also want to be able to have my ranging party to counter attack. So it makes it a very difficult decision there. But I do leave it unopposed. Kneel Maester Aemon to save a Night's Watch character, so most people just target Maester Aemon. You got to be wary of the fact that if you target Maester Aemon and they play a treachery to cancel, then Maester Aemon would die. So you got to be smart when you make that play. So Rob wins an Intrigue challenge unopposed. Plays a Tears of Lists, but I block with Hand's Judgment. He blocks my Hand's Judgment with his Hand's Judgment, but I discard Bran to cancel his Hand's Judgment in a miraculous play of counters. Doesn't happen too often. Costs us both $1. So it's unopposed. Now he's going to get his claim. And gets my second meager contribution. I was really pissed when he got that, I'm not going to lie. It was hard to hide my frustration because I know how good of a card that is, especially for Night's Watch, who doesn't have a reducing location. Being able to steal that 1 gold from your opponent is a big swing. Or a big economy swing, rather. So if I'm not mistaken, that is my challenges now. And I can only make the 1 challenge. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a power challenge. Yep. Power challenge of 5, unopposed. So steal 1, get 1 for unopposed. I could have went for the military and had him claim the Burn Men, but at that point, I really don't think that was necessary. The smarter play was definitely to go for the power, win dominance, and go up 3-1. And for new players, I won dominance with the Iron Throne, which gives you 8 strength in the dominance phase. As we move to our second plots here, again, it's 3 power for myself to Rob's 1. And I prefer to use dice. I just feel like they're much easier to count than power tokens for the most part. A lot of players chirp me and say that it's a net runner thing, but I am the throne runner after all, so I got to bring elements of both games. So we've got double calling the banners.
Who's going first? Your call.
And I won initiative with my King's Road, even though we tied for plots. So I allowed Rob to go first. And then we argue about who's when revealed triggers first.
That's right.
Not that it matters, we're just goofing around. So he gets 3 gold for my 3 characters, I get 4 gold for his. And we draw 2 cards. And if I'm not mistaken, we will both have a total of 7 gold here. So he had 3 from his plot, 3 from my characters, and 1 for his moneylender. He was about to spend roughly 5, but changed his mind. Spends 3 to play a copy of Lannister. So when you win an intrigue challenge, draw a card. And I remember being very worried at that point because I had mistaken Casterly Rock for Lannister. I thought that he was going to get to do 2 intrigue challenges per round, which would have definitely messed up my wall strategy. Because I wouldn't have the 2 icons to use. I'd have to save one. I'd have to save Aemon to save for military claim, and then I would have to oppose the first intrigue challenge with the steward at the wall. That would leave the second one unopposed. So I was very worried at this point, and then I realized that it was just draw that he was getting, so it wasn't too bad. Spends another 3 gold and puts a sealed hand on Varys. So if that had been Casterly Rock, it would be 2 stealthed intrigue challenges with Varys. Unbelievable. So I collect an income of 3 for my plot and then 1 for the Rose Road, which I think I remember in a second. I hope. Which puts me at 8 instead of the 7 that I thought. Do I remember? Probably not. Actually, no, I think I mapped it out in my head and then I realized that something wasn't right and ended up grabbing that extra gold at one point. So again, I had the wall and Castle Black in my hand already at this point. Yeah, so I recounted my gold, realized that I had 8. But then again, remember that I don't want to flood the board because Varys is out. Or I don't want to go too crazy before I get myself set up. So there's 2 King's Roads now. The wall costs 4. Castle Black costs 2. And I believe I had Jon Snow in my hand at the time as well. And that was my major dilemma, was do I play Jon Snow knowing that he's going to Varys? I ended up doing it because I saw that he had played to seal the hand on Varys. So I thought maybe having the seal out would make him more reluctant to want to use Varys' ability this round. So I thought I might get a little bit of play out of Jon. So I spent 4 for the wall. And the 2 for Castle Black and save 1 going into the challenges phase. And so Rob is first player. And just double checking the stats. So every Night's Watch character gets +1 because of the wall. And Castle Black, I'm able to choose a defending character, give it +2 strength, and stand it. And as well, if you lose an unopposed challenge, the wall kneels, which doesn't allow me to grab 2 power at the end of the challenges phase. So it's an intrigue challenge of, I believe that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, with stealth on Jon Snow and an insight for Maester Pycelle. So I block with 2. Block with 2, use the wall to boost by 2 just to stand the steward. So I block with 4 and still lose.
Reaction? Yep.
And he draws 1 card
Okay.
for Lannister. Claim of 1. Both of them, both cards in my hand were Tumblestone Knights.
Alright, insight.
And then he draws a 2nd card for insight. So huge card advantage for Rob currently. Which is another thing that makes Lannister No Agenda kind of scary when Varys is out. They're able to wipe the board, and then they have so many cards in hand that chances are they're going to recover much faster than you will because of all of the gold in Lannister and that crazy draw that they have with Insight, Lannisport, and then obviously being able to do 2 intrigue challenges to really limit your hand. So it's a big swing, hand size swing. So my challenges, it's an intrigue challenge of 2 with the steward, including Jon Snow's 5 because he participates in all challenges initiated by Night's Watch characters. So that's a total of 7, which I win, and claim 1 copy of Tywin Lannister.
And I'll do a military challenge.
And then here I am again deciding military or power.
Do a power challenge 5, 6.
And I decide to go with the power challenge of 6. So 1 for unopposed and steal 1 puts me to 5. The reason why I went power again instead of military, I didn't want him to have to claim somebody and then feel more inclined to pop Varys early. So I get another 2 for the wall for not having lost an unopposed challenge. And then I win dominance for 3. So that's a lot of power in 1 turn, going from 3 to 8. And he takes dominance action and pops Varys' ability to clear the board completely. At this point, I realized that I was at 8 and he was at 0, but I was still very, very worried. Knowing that I only had 1 card in hand, and that card was the Tumblestone Knight, he would be able to easily win a military challenge and get rid of the knight. So I'm praying that I draw some characters in the draw phase. And I play Calm Over Westeros and name military. He plays Sneak Attack, which has a claim of 2.
I'll choose you to go first.
And I remember at this point, I kind of shook my head a little bit because if I can only play 1 character, obviously 1 has to die, not having Maester Aemon anymore. So I knew that even if I played this Tumblestone Knight, chances were that I wouldn't really come out of this round with anyone on the board. So I drew 2 cards. He made me the first player as well, which made it even more difficult to kind of gauge where I needed to be in this round. But if I'm not mistaken, I only drew the 1 character. Sorry, I only still have the 1 character, which was the Tumblestone Knight that I played for 2. Play another Rose Road and hold a card in hand. He gets 5 gold. Spends all 5 for copy of Littlefinger, dupes him, and draws 2 cards. So there's that card advantage again. And so my challenge is, all I can really do is a military challenge. There's no point in passing because he can just do intrigue unopposed anyways. But still, I'm happy that I'm not going to lose my Tumblestone Knight this turn.
Military challenge 2.
So military challenge of 2, which is going to go unopposed.
Military challenge 2. Unopposed?
So that puts him up to 9 power.
Yep.
He claims the dupe. And now he's free to get an unopposed challenge, but I am going to win dominance and put myself up to 10. Unfortunately, I won't get to use the wall because, like I said, the intrigue or power challenge, oh, he does a power challenge, is going to go unopposed. So I'm going to lose 2 power. I also lose the wall.
2 for claim.
And he goes up to 3 power. 2 for claim and 1 for unopposed. I win dominance, so we are back at 8 to 3.
7, 8, so I get rid of 3.
And he has a lot of cards in hand, has to drop some for reserve. Let's see what he drops here.
Intrigue of 6. No, power of 6.
Seal.
So he drops the Seal of the Hand because it costs a lot, and he doesn't really have too many bonuses out. A Treachery because he needs a unique Lannister character to play it. And Treachery is awesome because it turns off the wall and or it can turn off Castle Black. Or any character ability, really. Character ability, any card ability. Character card location. Character attachment location, sorry.
Other than the black market. I will get rid of, damn it.
So you just get one more card here.
Damn card advantage is so harsh. Oh my gosh.
And I was chirping, I was like, oh man, it must be so hard to have so many cards in hand when your opponent has nothing. Get drops to put to the sword.
Alright. Yeah.
So that makes me kind of happy at this point. He has all these great things in his deck, but he can't afford to play any of them because the VARs kind of set him back too. So we go to the plot phase. I already have my plot out. I knew what I wanted to play from. As soon as I realized that the knight wasn't going to die, I knew exactly what plot I was going to play next turn.
Oh, interesting.
So
Okay.
I play Filthy Accusations to Neil Littlefinger, and he plays Confiscation, which allows him to remove an attachment, but there's no attachments in play. He's kind of just playing it because he doesn't want to play any of his other plots right now. And he makes me the first player because Confiscation has a initiative of 5 to my 4. So there's a Suitor at the wall for 1, and another 3 for Sansa, who comes in Knelt.
No, right.
Again, for new players, Sansa Stark's ability is when you marshal her, she comes into the game Knelt, and whenever she stands, she receives 1 power for your faction. So she comes in Knelt, she's going to stand during taxation phase, and that's going to give me 1 power. You throw her into any challenge to block, any intrigue or power challenge, even if you know you're going to lose, throw her into block because she's going to stand and get you that power anyways. Or sometimes your opponent goes all out trying to get an unopposed on the wall, and Sansa can sneak by for an easy power challenge for you, which might end up unopposed and still get you that power in dominance as well. So a very, very nice card, and works extremely well with this deck. So he comes in with 2 of the Lannister character reducers, whose name I always forget, and plays Tyrion Lannister.
3.
If I'm not mistaken, those guys are Lannisport merchants. So 2 Lannisport merchants and Tyrion, but only 1 character standing, so I'm still happy.
Intrigue 2.
Intrigue challenge of 2. It's gonna go unopposed, but he gets 2 gold for Tyrion's ability.
Unopposed?
Yep, so 1 for unopposed. Some of you might ask why I would do that challenge, and it's because I know that he's not going to, as I intrigue a Milk Poppy, I know that Rob is not going to use Tyrion on defense in this situation, 1, and 2, on Rob's attack, he's just going to stealth by the steward anyway, so it's always a good idea just to throw that guy into the challenge, or else he's just not going to get used, especially when you have the Iron Throne out to win you dominance regardless. And so now here I'm thinking if I should do a power challenge to get the unopposed and another power.
Unopposed?
But this time I decided to do a military, which goes unopposed, puts me up to 10 power, and claims one of his moneylenders. So that time I decided to go with the military over the power because of the fact that I didn't want him to have too much econ. I had a feeling that he had characters in his hand that maybe he couldn't afford, and you never want to make it any easier for your opponent to afford those things. So power would have been great. Yes, I would have went up to 11, but Tyrion could just do an unopposed power challenge and steal that back regardless. Either way, the wall is going to go down.
Intrigue.
So he does an intrigue challenge with Tyrion, which is unopposed, and gets my amazing Milk of the Poppy proxy.
We'll draw.
Another 2 gold for Tyrion, draws for Lannisport. And I have no cards in hand. He has a mitt full.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not too worried. I'm only 5 power away. Sansa's going to stand and give me a power. I'm also going to win dominance.
I will cancel Sansa. Do I have any guy?
He cancels Sansa's ability with
Right, triggered
treachery
ability.
because he has Tyrion out.
To interrupt when the effects are triggered from a character location or attachment ability would initiate or cancel those effects.
I'm just wondering the action window though, because it's count
Reaction after Sansa stands. Gain 1 power. Yeah, but in standing you stand everyone. Then there's like a reacting, but I'm interrupting your reaction.
Oh, okay.
And then there is an action window in standing after we stand everyone.
And then we were just talking about action windows there.
So how's that?
I wasn't sure how that would work. Him playing the treachery, but it's a reaction, not an action. So he's just reacting to my character ability. It's an interrupt, sorry. So he's interrupting my ability, not using an action window. So we move into the plot phase. I'm winning 10 to 4. I play Wildfire just to get rid of it,
Who's going first?
and he plays Counting Coppers to draw 3 cards. So I allow him to be the first player because I have initiative 7. He has 3, if I'm not mistaken.
And draw phase.
So he's going to draw 5 cards. I'm going to draw 2. Again, card advantage. I've said it so many times. When he has so many options to choose from, it only increases his chances of winning. But that card does have a very low income on it, so I'm not too worried about what he's going to play. Although he does milk Sansa, it's a sigh of relief for me knowing that no more characters are going to come out on the board that are going to hurt me too much. Not this turn anyways. Next turn probably, because of all the draw, but it's it gives me a chance to try to win the game out this turn. So he has 2 gold left. Tons of cards to choose from, but all probably too expensive. The most he could play is a 3-cost Lannister, which would be like Burn Men or something, or Maester Pycelle. So he plays Maester Pycelle because the other copy of Maester Pycelle wasn't killed; it was discarded by Varys. So you're still allowed to play that. New players. I have an income of 6, 2 from the Rose Road, and 4 from my plot. 2 cards in hand.
2, 3. This one now. And note that. Spend 2 for that.
So choose an opponent and look at his or her hand. Then can you cancel this effect?
Well, you tap first, right? So do I have a chance to play?
And I decide to save all of my money.
Yes.
This is my first action.
I can't even remember what I drew that turn. I just knew it was junk.
No, it won't. I've already done
Not junk, but I just couldn't afford to really play anything.
That's what I was thinking, because that's what I was considering too. That I played him, forgetting that his strength is
Yeah, I do not get to.
But 5 power is definitely doable when you have the wall at your back
I have no chance.
and potential dominance. So the wall and the Iron Throne is almost like a guaranteed 3, and I just need to get something unopposed, hopefully an unopposed power.
I'll be curious to play this unopposed.
So he does an intrigue challenge,
I had a +2 strength, so
and I block it with 4.
but like I would
Reaction to win.
if I went first.
He plays a Tears of Bliss, so I still lose. He plays Tears of Bliss on the...
Yeah. But then even because you could just do
Sorry, I missed who he played it on.
like stack both those and then put dominant.
Oh, Tumblestone Knight, I'm assuming.
That also helps.
Military stealth.
Yeah, but you're
Yeah,
going dominant.
Tumblestone Knight.
Unopposed.
And reaction. Let's see.
Draws a card for Lannister.
And claim a 1.
And Claim of 1. It's probably like, I think it was Hand's Judgment is one of the cards that was in my hand.
10, 11.
Oh.
No, it was Eddard Stark. Yeah, it was Eddard Stark and Hand's Judgment. And I was hoping
And draw.
that turn I could have blocked the Tears of Bliss, but I decided
Close it.
that I would rather give that 50-50 chance of him not pulling Ned, so that next turn I could play a Noble Cause and get Ned out for 5 and get some renown going. So I took the chance. Didn't work out, but I mean, if it had, that would have been excellent anyway.
Still power.
No, it says max 1 per. It's either 1 per challenge, 1 per base.
And so now he's going to do a power challenge
Or, yeah.
with Tyrion stealthing Sansa.
Discard ice.
1, 2.
So I just oppose it with 2
There's a combo where you can kill, I think the highest is
using the Tumblestone Knight.
10 characters.
Take 1.
There's a way you can kill 10 characters in one.
Claim of 1.
It is.
That's all.
So now it is 9-5.
You lose with
And all my challenges here are going to go unopposed.
Intrigue 2.
So it's intrigue challenge of 2, just unopposed, puts me to 10.
Sunspear start. Yeah. And then you
No, no,
have
right now there's Windlooter and there's Sneak Attack. Sneak Attack will even only do 1 challenge.
Get a hand judgment. Power challenge of 2, unopposed, puts me to 12.
you. So one's not in one. What is in
And
one.
then with the wall at the end of challenges, I get 2, so that'd be 14, and I win dominance for 15.
Dominance, right?
And so that was the game. It was a very close game because of Varys. But again, for those of you who haven't seen the deck, feel free to watch the deck building video. I'll post a link to that. It'll be up in just a second on the screen. Thank you for watching, and feel free to check out Rob St.John's channel as well. He has a lot of excellent stuff for Game of Thrones players, lots of live play, live streams. He doesn't do any deck building yet, but I know he's going to be doing that in the future. So go ahead, check out his channel, see games played by other players in our meta. And yeah, thank you for watching, and thank you for your support. Don't forget to check out thronerunner.com for the deck building videos and associated podcasts. And also don't forget to follow on Twitter at ThroneRunner. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, whatever have you, I can be reached at on Twitter or at throne.runner@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, and good luck everybody with your Game of Thrones, and peace. 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 Peace.